I'm Aditya. I have 4 years of strategy consulting experience in healthcare, where I've worked with brands all around the world, specifically in the pharmaceutical and life sciences sector. So, working in consulting, usually the work is a bit haphazard. Like, initially, my work used to be at a lower junior position. It was much more organized. But as soon as you climb up the ladder, it gets more unorganized by the day. So I would say in the beginning of the day, I have a couple of priority items that I know that I already have to work on. And some of the items where I have to either visualize or storyboard or meet with a couple of folks to figure out what has to be done. And usually the first of the day, half of the day goes in meetings and discussing these action items. And I would say about after lunch is when I start to do the actual work. And in the evening, I usually have meeting with my clients where we discuss, like just the feedback and move forward for the next day. So it's very dynamic, very exciting, and sometimes frustrating, but most times rewarding. So, I like to say that, a consultant can help you in three ways of the problem solving sort of spectrum. One is that you do not understand what is wrong with your company, but you do know that, okay, you do want to check if everything is working fine. Second is if you've identified a problem already, but you don't know how to execute a solution. And the third could be you have identified the problem, you have a solution in mind, but you want to consult with industry experts just to make sure that you're getting things right. So a consultant can help in any of these three steps, and the idea for them is that it's our ability to onboard ourselves quite fast, meet the right people, do our own research, and be able to give the right advice in a manner that can be explained to the most senior of the board members, as well as someone who's a very ground level personnel within the company. So that is what is essentially the expertise of a consultant, and that's why our work looks so haphazard sometimes, but it makes sense to us. A consultant is someone who, again, he is the center point of it. So it's about the network that he has that gives him advantage. So even if I might not know about like one particular HR policy, or I might not know about like a particular issue, obviously financial information, like once you start working on it, or if you're a marketing consultant, you will definitely know the basics of it much stronger than anyone else. But then again, you would know the right people to contact to. And firms now have a very vast division because they have so many people with expertise. They have a huge tech team, they have a legal team, they have an HR team. So your job is to, before the client blinks, to reach the right person, find the right information, upskill yourself, and then know the right tools to tell the same information to your client. So that is where you fit in as a consultant. I think what is the most important aspect that they look for, especially for someone who's a fresher, is the problem solving ability. So working on guesstimates, working on puzzles from a very young age, maybe even your second or third year of college, can set you up for success in this role. Second thing that I feel is very important is to network, because there are a lot of people, and consultants, we have the general tendency to help each other and help other people. So building a community helps you identify the different sort of spectrums of consulting. So earlier it used to be just a couple of management consulting firms, but now there's a lot of boutique consulting, there's a lot of life science consulting. So if you're able to find a background where your soft skills and your professional skills can be used together, I think that can be an excellent entry point for someone. So soft skills, I would say number one is communication, very important. Working with people, working with different types of businesses. You can't have expertise in everything, but you can have good communication. Second is multitasking. That's why women, and especially in India, this is a trend that we've seen, that women are much more successful in consulting as compared to men. And this is a trend that is not reflected in Europe, and they're much, much behind this. So in terms of DEI, women are much ahead in India. And the third thing is, I would say, being efficient, planning your day out, having calendars blocked, having time blocked, and having every account of your minute really does help, because there's not a lot of hard skills that you can learn. And I would not say that, okay, these are the 4 hard skills that you must need, but I can tell you what are good to have. Having a good knowledge of data analytics definitely does help. upskilling yourself about new technologies like AI will definitely help. Getting a certification from a brand like, so McKinsey has a McKinsey Forward program, Bain has a Bain Excellence program. So getting yourself certified with these projects, these programs will help you get picked quicker in the CV, and also will help you understand, okay, what do you need to talk about, and how is the landscape changing. So this is what I would say in terms of hard and soft skills. Soft skills are much more important, hard skills not that much, or else I wouldn't have gotten the job, to be really honest. Definitely an MBA helps, but that can be an expensive route sometimes. So in other cases, there are definitely skills that you can learn. There are a lot of certified courses. There are Scrum courses that you can do. There is, like if there's a data management course like AWS or Azure, that is getting certified in those courses definitely gives you an edge, because that's something that gets picked up in your resume quite fast. So from an industry standpoint, obviously there's been some trimming, which I think, and it's not just for consulting, I think it's any industry that's sort of reliant on human resources. But I also do see that, now there are jobs that are around AI. So people have started to understand that you can't move forward without not adopting the technology. So now there are roles where it's like a research consultant role, but AI expertise, or an AI expertise consultant, something like that. So these sort of roles we'll start to see in a couple of years. But for my personal experience, and like a couple of friends of mine work in Bain, and what we have understood is that there are a lot of softwares now, companies have started to incorporate it, and like we see ChatGPT and things like this, and it's very mainstream, but companies have already started working on these things much before. Like even when I was working in consulting, I would use, we would hear the word AI and ML quite often before, it became a normal term. And companies have now internally built some certain resources. So I can again not name the firm, but there's this one particular firm that has started to use AI to help its consultant do research and also fact check the data that they have. So these things have definitely helped the productivity of individuals. I think what is really important is to onboard yourself as soon as possible and to not stay behind, because what we saw was that in the initial days, a lot of people were still debating if this is right or wrong, and I think it's more about the adoption. As soon as the adoption improves, there will be much more people taking part of it. But the idea is to start, like learn prompt engineering, like learn how to give the right prompts, know different sort of softwares, what is, the difference between ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity, and these are the things that everyone should know, specifically in the consulting firm, and know, okay, if I want data analytics, or if I want to, look at data, I should go to Claude. Or if I just want to, like restructure my email, or, say something to my clients, I can use ChatGPT, but I can't use that for, so these kind of differences and this kind of knowledge does provide you an advantage. And another thing that I've started to see in job descriptions is that they are looking for people with much more expertise, because they want now, like the job that was done by 15 people is now done by 5 people. There is so much trimming of the fat, and like the output or the productivity required is much higher. They're not willing to bet on people who have lesser experience. I wish someone had told me this as well, is to not take your curiosity as something negative, to take it as something positive, because in consulting, people try to pretend to know it all from day one. And maybe that gets you far in like the first couple of months, but eventually it's the people who ask a lot of questions and the people who are not afraid to say that, they don't know something, because that gives you the ability to tell them that, hey, I don't know this, but give me a couple of days and I will show you that I can learn everything about it. And that is something that, industry leaders do, sort of appreciate, because I have seen some very senior level principals and partners who constantly reinvent themselves and constantly are, learning new stuff and, taking care of new projects, because they have to lead. Like all of a sudden, if a partner has to, get himself onboarded on an AI adventure that his company is going on, he's not going to be able to do that if he's given up reading or if he's given up upskilling himself 5 or 10 years ago. So those kind of things do make a difference. And everyone pretends to know everything, but the idea is that the lesser you have to be in a room where you're the numbers guy, and that's when you're at the most advantage. So that is something, if you have it, then those long hours don't feel that bad, and those sly comments don't feel that bad, and you feel more positively reinforced about your own image.